Welcome. If you'll remember yesterday, I said this was a two-parter. So still with that story from Luke in the 7th chapter where Jesus forgives this sinful woman. But forgiveness, as I said yesterday, is for the one who forgives. We don't have the power to make the one who is forgiven receive it or accept it or changed. And when the one who forgives is changed, it's just the first step. And we don't know in that story if the woman responds. But you know what we do know? There's a Pharisee. There's a Pharisee who's watching all of this. And he is dead silent. We have no idea if this story impacts him. But I want to tell you of a story that I watched that impacted me. There's a link to this story in the description if you want to see the whole thing. It's worth it. There's a woman. Her name is Mary Johnson, and her son, her 16-year-old son, was murdered by another teenager, Loramian Bird. He was arrested, convicted, sentenced, and incarcerated. But 15 years in, they were going to release him, and Mary was mad. This boy, O'Shea, had taken her son's life, and she needed him to know about himself. So she goes to the penitentiary before he is released. She meets him, and she's changed. If you watch the story, you will hear her say that she had to put down forgive, let go of, forgive, walk away from, forgive, her anger, her hate. She had to recognize that it was killing her. But that was only the first step. Loramian was dead, but O'Shea was alive. And Mary worked with this young man until he forgave himself. He put down what he had done. He walked away from what he had done. And then Mary basically adopted him, brought him into her home. She says in the piece, I'll never see my son graduate. I'll never see my son's children. But this one is now mine. Forgiveness is the first step, and it affects for sure the one who forgives. Receiving that forgiveness and being changed by it is the second step. But there's a third step that story of Mary and O'Shea depicts, and it is reconciliation. Forgiveness just takes one. Reconciliation takes both. I watched that story, and it made me know that I, while maybe having forgiven folk, hadn't reconciled. I watched Mary and O'Shea, and I was transformed by the encounter. But the Pharisee, in that Luke 7 story, we don't know. We don't know if he was transformed. But even more importantly, does that story in Luke 7, does the story of Mary and O'Shea speak to you? Might this moment be the encounter that transforms you and moves you to think about reconciling? It's not easy. It's not guaranteed. But we can be transformed by an encounter. I pray the Pharisee was. I know I was. And I hope you are. See you along the way, my friend.